Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we have something to talk about today, and that is going to be the Zenless Zone Zero 2.0 story. Because I've heard that it's actually really disappointing. There have been a lot of CCs who have been fervently in support of ZZZ and the updates that it's been making. And a lot of them have basically been coming out of the woodworks and just saying that 2.0 as a whole has actually been a resounding failure in a lot of aspects. And so what I wanted to do today was actually look into this reaction to the story by Age KK, who, if you're not familiar with her, she's one of my close friends and is also an amazing content creator herself. And one thing she prides herself on is making some of the most positive reactions you've seen in the space. You can just kind of look at all the stuff over here, right? She's always very happy, happy-go-lucky, all of that stuff. And apparently this 2.0 story made her crash out. So why don't we go ahead and we see the reason for this and whether or not this crash out is justified based off of her thoughts. The one thing that I don't want to happen from this is for the toxic side of the ZZZ community to start attacking her, because you know how the ZZZ community responds to critiques. They will brigade you, downvote every single thing on your channel, and proceed to start attacking you in ways that you had never thought possible because you don't like something about their game. So yeah, let's go ahead, let's get right on into it and see how it went for her.
Hello, welcome in. This is a very impromptu video that I am recording. I honestly don't know if I'm going to post it or not. I mean, clearly, if you guys are seeing it, then I decided to post it. But why am I here to talk to you guys? I just wanted to express, if you guys have seen, or if you guys are watching this video, then you might have seen my previous video, which is my 2.0 first half of the story playthrough, and might have some opinions about it. But either way, for context is I crashed out a little bit. I crashed out a little bit on stream earlier, and also in that video. So yeah.
I haven't personally seen it, so I hope she either explains it or shows or explains the whole situation.
Yeah, I just wanted to express that I am sorry that my reaction might not have been as, exciting and positive as I normally try to be when I do play through stories, but I just couldn't. I'm sorry. It was my honest reaction. I did not have that much fun playing the first half of Zenless Zone Zero 2.0.
Bro, she's a ZZZ Andy. She is a literal ZZZ Andy. You can look from the history of her channel. She has been one of the biggest fans of this game for the longest fucking time. Straight up, she loves this game. She is one of its biggest fucking fans. I don't even know, straight up, she's been with the game in its worst parts. She was uploading content about this game when it was doing awfully in terms of metrics, YouTube, all of that. She's been with this game since version 1.2, 1.3, when the game was literally at its fucking lowest. And of course, now that it's come back a little bit for 2.0, this is when analytics are at the highest part that the game has ever been. Now she's crashing out about it. So I feel like that has to tell you something about the quality of the story, or really the dropping quality of the story. We will be playing it ourselves at some point.
And yeah, so I debated whether or not I should post that reaction at all, the playthrough, because I feel like it's not very good. Because,
Is it not very good because of your crash out, or is it just not very good because the story isn't good?
I had some fun, but nearing the latter half of it, I do think I was starting to have a lot less fun. But I decided that I do owe it to you guys, as my audience who watches me, to be honest about my feelings and to show not just the good parts of, the stories that I play, but also my own personal, feelings whenever I do feel like the story is not as fun. So
I think that's really something important, because one thing you really don't want when it comes to a creator who has super positive content about a game is for them to only talk about the parts that they liked. Because that's how you end up with a dog shit game like Genshin Impact, where the biggest CCs, the most positively perceived CCs in the space, will never ever actually critique the game. Think your Zioxes, think your Doro 44s, they'll never critique the fucking game. And the end result is that when there are actual meaningful problems that do need to be fixed, nobody ends up talking about them. They're never actually known. And if somebody does go ahead and point them out, think about ZZZ and Miasma, the rest of the community will start attacking them. for trying to point it out, because you don't have the biggest positive CCs in the space also calling it a problem. And that's something that we've already seen happen in ZZZ, but hopefully when it comes to feedback and fixing of the story, it's actually something that sees some shifts, that sees some changes.
So, yeah, that's why I did post it regardless, even though it probably upset. I'm sure it upset a lot of people, but, you know, it's fine. It's fine. And yeah, anyways, I played through the first half of the Zenless Zone Zero 2.0 story, and I went into it really, really excited because I've been super looking forward to Zenless Zone Zero's newest, I guess, soft relaunch. I am a huge fan of Zenless. You guys probably know if you've seen my content, seen my channel, is I really, really enjoy Zenless Zone Zero. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and I was looking forward to 2.0 because, you know, it's a massive hype patch. Who wouldn't?
Everyone was looking forward to 2.0. You want to know why? Because patches 1.6 and 1.7 sucked dick. They were fucking awful. Relative to the patches you've had that were actually good in ZZZ like 1.4, 1.6 and 1.7 were some hot steaming dog shit. They're very reminiscent of patches 2.6 and 2.7 in Honkai Star Rail. Yeah, honestly, 1.5, 1.6, and 1.7 in ZZZ were bad. They were not good. And it's similar to HSR 2.6 and 2.7. Remember Banana Patch and Sunday Fug You Patch, where the main story was literally 3 hours of dialogue, and then Sunday, you fight the Sunday weekly boss again at the end? That was patch 2.7. And so the expectation was similar to Amphorius, where after 2 dog shit patches, you expected the 2.0 or the 3.0 release to actually be good. And then when people suffered through 2.6 and 2.7 in HSR, and then they got whatever the fuck kind of trash Amphorius 3.0 was, they were pissed. People quit the game in droves because they were expecting actual quality after sustaining bullshit for about 3 consecutive months across those updates. And ZZZ players, right, have sustained the bullshit after 1.6 and 1.7, and apparently 2.0 is just not good. Some are saying it's similar to Amphorius, with how bad 2.0 fucked up the story. Remember all those warnings that I gave about ZZZ becoming the new HSR? It wasn't even just the endgame and the design of the difficulty and the HP inflation and the power creep of the characters. It was also the story too. That's becoming like HSR as well. It's baffling. It is insane to see the degradation that this game has supposedly gone through when we're literally hitting on the 1-year anniversary of its release. ZZZ has not even had its official anniversary yet, guys. I think that's sometime in July. This is insane to see a game progress like this. And I've been warning you about it for months. Since 3 months ago, I've been telling you that this was going to happen. And the toxic positive side of the community refused to listen to any fucking degree. And look at where we are right now.
Be excited. And yeah, I was looking forward to the story. I think the new map looks really cool. The new characters are really cool. Jufufu stole my heart. And Yishuan also has been super, super amazing.
Let me see some stats, actually. I want to see what the Twitch tracker is looking like for ZZZ following its update. The patch dropped about a couple of days ago, right? Let's see. We're at 8K. Nice. Damn, it's already had a 6K drop. Okay. It had the highest viewers at 21. Oh, good lord. It hasn't even been 48 hours since the patch dropped yet, and we're already hitting 5K. I thought this was supposed to be the best anniversary patch ever. I thought 2.0 was supposed to be, like 2.0 plus the anniversary was supposed to be the best thing ever. Oh dear God, that's not good. That is crazy. So you don't have to take just my word for it. You can take the greater part of the Twitch community for this game.
Both in her lore, backstory from her marketing, and also, you know, in the main story so far. And yeah, the story itself is also pretty interesting. My only gripe is that I wish I, you know, got to experience more of that in the first half. And I feel like after playing the first half of the story, I spent the past 4 hours, and I feel like I honestly have not progressed, like, at all.
So it's like Amphorius. No progression at all, just a bunch of dialogue that's pointless, no plot progression, just a bunch of running back and forth talking to people that don't matter.
At all in the main story. And that is mostly due to the fact that the first half of the story, in my opinion, is just tutorial simulator.
So like the puzzles in Amphorius that were widely critiqued and the players begged to have removed from the story, where they teach you how all the puzzles work and you spend more time figuring out how to do the puzzles than actually playing the story. They just brought it back for ZZZ. The same exact stuff that HSR was widely critiqued for in 3.0. They didn't listen to the HSR feedback and just put it into 2.0 for ZZZ.
You know, they do kind of like they sprinkle in a little bit of the lore and setup here and there, and obviously we get to interact with the characters. Like those parts are fun, those parts were interesting, you know, getting to be introduced to the new cast, the Yunkui Summit, going to the temple and stuff. But I just they forced us to go through the town, they forced us to talk to a bunch of the new storekeepers who we already kind of know what their role is. They also forced us to set up, you know, the HDD and shit with EOS, not EOS, with the 20, and then they also, you know,
That sounds exhausting. That they're
taught us a bunch of new battle mechanics, which is fine. I'm fine with the battle mechanics,
battle
but I
mechanics
just feel
was
like there
fine.
was just so much stuff. And then they also made us sit through they made us sit through another tutorial after all of those tutorials with the new game mode, which is an idle game mode for I guess refurbishing the
Management?
temple, which on its own, the game mode itself is something that I actually would really enjoy, okay? I think I'm gonna have a great time playing that game mode later when I'm not forced to play it and learn about it in the middle of the main story.
That's supposed to be a side quest. Didn't they learn how to do it properly with the museum event in Belobog, where it is not a part of the main fucking story and it's just like a limited time permanent event where you have limited time rewards if you complete it during the patch, but it stays permanently so you can do it in the future? They already have the tried and tested formula for how to integrate something like that properly, and they just chose not to do it. What the fuck? And apparently the tutorials extended to doing things like how to, like, eating food and getting coffee and doing like the ticket scratcher dailies. They extended the tutorial to that, so you're basically like forced to relearn how to do the exact same things that you've been doing for a whole year in the game. This patch seems like it was designed for newer players, definitely, and they made the story tailored to newer players as well. Are they just like basically like insinuating you should never play 1.0? It's like these guys decided to copy the Wuwa formula, but in the worst way possible. Oh, look, you can skip ahead in Wuthering Waves. All the new players are playing Renacida instead. But like, Renacida, for older players of Wuwa, was great. But they've managed to, in tailoring the new Waifu Peninsula for newer players, they've ruined the experience for older ones. That sounds awful, to have to go through tutorials on like how to like do the video shop and do all of that stuff.
So yeah, and then after that, they also forced us to do a commission for that temple game mode. That was also really unrelated to the main story. So anyways, my point is, I went a little bit crazy. I honestly...
Justified crash out. Yeah, you're just trying to progress the story, play all the new stuff, do all the new things, and then you're getting thrust back into how to play the game 101 when you figured out how to play the game a year ago. You're relearning things you learned and memorized how to do a year ago, and you can't skip it.
I'm still feeling a little bit crazy, which is why I decided that once we finished all the tutorial stuff, which we currently have finished, chat told me that we have finished all the tutorial things, and the next part of the story is just going to be mostly plot, okay? So I am really looking forward to that. I decided to cut myself off for the evening and just stop after we finish the tutorial things, and, you know, take a day or two to just rest and be able to, you know, take a break from...
Imagine playing a game, a leisure activity. Like, playing a game is a leisure activity, right? Imagine having to take a break from the leisure activity because it's so stressful and annoying. That seems like something only Hoyoverse would be able to really effectively do.
From my kind of mental insanity at the moment. And also, yeah, so then I can come back to the story on Monday with a fresh mind. So I am really excited. Like I said, I am still looking forward to the story. I have always been. So I cannot wait to do that on Monday when I'll be able to actually experience the plot.
What I like about this overview is that she doesn't get into any of the story at all, any of the plot at all. She just talks about what made her experience fucking awful. Absolutely no spoilers for what happened, but I can already tell what she went through was some dog shit. And now I don't want to play it.
The plot, and yeah, I understand why the Zenless team probably did this and did all of these extra tutorial things.
New players.
Because, again, 2.0 is a soft launch for the new players.
Yep.
And, you know, they probably have a lot of people who are coming back to the game and will not remember a lot of the different mechanics and stuff. So yeah, totally fine. I just think that it was 100% should have been optional. 100% they should not have made it so that we are forced to do all of these tutorials in the main story. Because, again, I feel like I've done the first half of the main story and learned maybe not nothing. We did learn a bit of stuff, but it's basically next to nothing, okay?
Why does there have to be a soft relaunch every 3 updates? You had the launch in 1.0, you got 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and then a soft relaunch in 1.4. Then you got 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, and another relaunch in 2.0. What is wrong with the game where it needs to have a soft relaunch every 3 updates? Literally.
They did not teach us too much more that we didn't already kind of know about the Wi-Fi Peninsula. So, yeah. Anyways.
2.4 for ZZZ is going to be another soft relaunch?
Should have been optional. I will not rant about that, but yeah, this is probably a mess of a video. I'm so sorry. I
think it's a fine video.
If I did end up posting this,
I think it's a fine video.
I'm honestly just gonna, I'm not even gonna cut it. I'll probably have like 2 cuts and then I'll send it. But anyways, if you guys watched till the end of this of me ranting, then I appreciate you listening to me when I'm both, you know, being happy and not also not that happy.
There's also something else when it comes to the video. I think Raj on Twitter. Oh yeah. By the way, this is what they added to the story, bro. Each one places her hand on Wise's bag as if... And apparently there's 20 plus of these. Remember when I said ZZZ is becoming the new HSR? I already said this before, but I said that was for the end game and the balancing of the units. It's also doing it for the fucking story. This company, man. I told you this game's affiliation with Hoyoverse was going to be its downfall. I told you. And instead of supporting a CC calling out terrible business practices and developments, you proceed to brigade and attack them instead. You really are the new premier Hoyo Shill community, ZZZ players.
And again, I still love Zenless. This is not enough to make me hate the game, of course, okay? I don't think the game is gonna EOS or whatnot, but yeah, I'm gonna take a break. For a few days. For 2 days. I'll be back on Monday, where we're gonna play the rest of the story, the second half of the story, which is in fact going to be most of the story, in my opinion. And
all right, I think we're just getting into her future plans, but I think she outlined it really well. All of the things that are going wrong with this game. Clearly, we have yet to play it ourselves, but the amount of discourse that I've seen, even from people that heavily support the game, about how awful their experience has been playing the story, speaks volumes to me. The game's biggest supporters are calling this out and drawing relations to the awful things done in Honkai Star Rail. And I guess this is the thing. Hopefully, this is the shift. This is the movement that ZZZ as a community needs to start rallying around CCs that are actually going to call out the fucking issues with the game and not sweep it under the rug and only be sunshine and roses. You need CCs who are going to go ahead and actually make it their business how awful the game is becoming. And you need to stop dogpiling the fucking people that are just trying to make your game better, because you are just accepting mediocrity, accepting bullshit, accepting the game literally taking the worst elements of past titles of Hoyoverse and then just transplanting them into ZZZ. You have the power creep and the HP inflation and the bullshit enemy mechanics from HSR. They are now in ZZZ, and you love it. You keep saying Miasma's not a problem when it fucking is. You keep saying Miyabi's not a problem when she fucking is. And now they're taking the dog shit story elements that sunk 3.0 and Amphorius, and they're transplanting them into fucking ZZZ 2.0. And now people are starting to call it out. And so at this point, I would implore you, ZZZ players and ZZZ community, how are you going to react in this situation? Knowing how recent the whole Miasma thing has been. How are you going to react to it happening again? Taking the dog shit elements of HSR and putting them in ZZ. What are you going to do? Are you going to start dogpiling the CCs calling it out? Or are you going to rally around the issues and try to get it fixed? Let me know what you all think. Peace.